Airtime. Once again, stations, if you encounter technical issues during the broadcast, please call the Oregon Studio Hotline at 336-831-0864. Stations, your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Duck's gonna pick it up, and here we go. Got him deep. He's open. He's got it, and he's gone.
How about that?
Oregon repeats as the Pac-12 champion.
Duarte pulls up, 3-ball. Bang!
LJ Figueroa!
Oregon goes back-to-back for the fourth time in the last 6 years. The Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
Foley three. Golden volleyball. Mikesell fires and hits a three. Left wing. Pow. Yeah, boom, boom.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
What a weekend.
We're just getting started.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
A whole lot of information to tell you about and a whole lot of coaches to hear from. I'm Joey Mack. Thanks for being with us in the Country Financial Studio. I wish that we were going on the air with better news. Unfortunately, Sweet 16 Sunday did not go as well as planned for the Ducks, as we will, of course, recap 2 great seasons, but 2 seasons that ended a little bit earlier than we all would have liked. Your Facebook comments and questions over the course of the show today. I agree with Eric. First comment of the day, I love it. Go Ducks. What a great season. You know, it was a great season. Is it going to hurt right now? And is it, frankly, really going to suck for a little while? Yeah. And you know what? If it doesn't, then you probably don't care as much as you should if you're a player, if you're a coach, even if you're a fan in some regard. You know, as the broadcaster last night when I left the studio at about 12:30, it was like, you know, you just have that sour taste in your mouth. The Sweet 16 is supposed to be sweet, but it's a little sour if you don't advance to the Elite Eight. And unfortunately, that's how it went for Oregon men's and women's basketball. Best of luck to all of the remaining Pac-12 teams. The Pac-12 will have 3 teams on the men's side in the Elite Eight. Congrats to the Beavers, congrats to the Bruins, and congrats to the Trojans. USC played extremely well, and there's really no other way to put it. I wish that I was saying the Ducks played extremely well, and they're moving on, but instead, we got to hope that the Trojans pull off the upset of Gonzaga. Is that what we're rooting for as Duck fans, by the way? Can I just ask that question up front? Are we all just in the back-the-pack mode? And so we're rooting for the Trojans since they're the team that took down the Ducks? Are we? I guess we are, right? And similarly, are we rooting for Louisville? But then should we be rooting for Stanford because that's who Louisville's going to play, and Stanford... You see what I'm getting at, everybody? Do you back the pack? Do you root for the team that the Ducks lost to? What do we do moving forward? Answer that question, please, in the Facebook comments, in the YouTube comments, or maybe if you're on the Twitters, ask us or respond to us on the Twitters. Scott Phillips says, I think you back the pack. Yeah, he says back the pack. Well, it didn't go Oregon's way against the Trojans. It was a close game early, though. It was kind of what I expected early on, and then things did not go Oregon's way. And frankly, it was kind of similar for Oregon women's basketball against Louisville. 2 games that Ducks just, I think, ran out of gas in a couple different ways. So it's a 60-42 final for the Oregon women losing to Louisville, and the Oregon men going down by a final of 82-68 at the hands of the Trojans. We'll talk about some of the seniors. We're going to hear from Kelly Graves. We're going to hear from Aaron Boley. We will also hear from Dana Altman, and we'll hear from Eugene Omarui post-game for Oregon men's basketball. Elsewhere, track and field is back. Oregon baseball salvaged a game in a true slugfest. It was a football score, actually, yesterday. Volleyball got a sweep over Cal. Softball swept LMU. Women's soccer with a good weekend. Men's and women's tennis, women's golf, women's lacrosse all in action, and women's golf with a really cool stat that we're going to tell you about coming up. It's a fun show coming your way. Well, Eugene Omarui, let's start with him. it was awesome to see Eugene Omoruyi get a double-double. He was so good. Really the model of consistency for the Ducks all season long, Eugene Omoruyi. I think that he was really the one guy that night in, night out was just great for the Ducks. He had 2 games where he didn't score double figures. One of them, he scored 9 against USC back in February, and the other, he had altitude sickness, the Ducks think. Really, he was the model of consistency. And Eugene Omoruyi, man, what a great addition. What a great addition to the team. Last year he went through surgery, didn't get a chance to practice as much, although he was with the team. And, man, what would Oregon have been this year without Eugene Omoruyi? And he's going to be moving on in his career. We know that. As he talked about it, you'll hear him in just a moment. Model of consistency, Eugene Omoruyi. So, Anitra says back the pack, except for USC. Okay. All right. That made me laugh. Dave says, yep, cheering for all the other Pac-12 teams. Jason says back the pack. Lee says, come on, not great, just okay. What? All right. Do we really need to get into this right now? All right, Lee, tell me why they weren't great seasons. Is the threshold of great that you've got to win a championship, a national championship every year? They won the Pac-12, the men did. The women, I thought, yeah, could they have finished stronger in the Pac-12 regular season? Sure, and they would tell you that. But let's unpack this right now. The Ducks have been to 5 Sweet 16s under Dana Altman. 5 in 10 years that a tournament has been contested in the 11 years of Dana Altman being the head coach. Ducks have also been to a couple of Elite Eights. They've been to a Final Four. If the expectation is to win championships like it is at Oregon, the Ducks did that in the Pac-12 regular season. Then they made it to the Sweet 16. I feel like that is a great season on the men's side. Could it have been greater? Yeah. And on the women's side, I don't know. I think you go to an Elite Eight, a Final Four, and a Sweet 16 in the last 4 years. As Coach Graves said, I think that's an elite basketball program. So I do think that it was a great season. Could they have been greater? Yes. But I do think that they were great seasons. Brandon says USC matches up better lengthwise with the Zags, in my opinion. Hope it's a slugfest. I actually think it could be a close game. I feel like Gonzaga, I've watched Gonzaga play now 2.5 games this season, with a couple other times I've had them on kind of in the background, and they're just terribly efficient offensively. I saw Dan Muscatel, former assistant coach for Oregon women's basketball, say that for a basketball purist, Gonzaga is just the best thing ever to watch this year. And Dan knows more about basketball than I will ever know. So I'm going to go with what Dan said and be like, okay, yeah, they're pretty good. I do think that it was 2 great seasons. And, again, 5th Sweet 16 under Coach Altman. I think it's still a solid year. Ducks are one of just 3 teams in the nation to advance to the Sweet 16 in 4 of the last 5 tournaments on the men's side. 7th appearance in the last 8 NCAA tournaments for the Ducks, and the regular season championship was Oregon's 4th title in the last 6 years. Pretty impressive in the Conference of Champions. And now 3 more teams still on the run. Going to miss Chris Duarte and Eugene Omoruyi. I talked about Eugene a second ago. And a heck of a NCAA tournament for Chris Duarte. 44 points, 17 of 28 shooting, 13 assists, 8 boards, 4 steals, just 3 turnovers. I think he's an NBA first-round pick. I think that some team is going to draft him, and they are going to be stoked that they picked Chris Duarte. I think he's an NBA first-round draft pick. I also thought that it was really cool that Frank Kepnang tied his season high in this game. Now, you'll hear Coach Altman was very honest post-game, thought he made a mistake not playing Frank Kepnang earlier in the game. But I think with guys like Frank, the makeup of the team for next season is going to be awesome. We'll hear Coach Altman talk about it in a little bit because there's some guys, in addition to Chris Duarte and Eugene Omoruyi, that may move on, may not. We'll find out. This is a free year of eligibility, remember. So what the roster is going to look like, though, I mean, you had some size with Nathan Biddle. You had some more size with athleticism with Jonathan Lawson. You've already got Frank Kepnang coming back, a healthy N'Faly Dante. Will Richardson returns. You know, there are a lot of really good pieces for this team. Jalen Terry taking another step forward. And the transfer portal, as Coach Altman said yesterday, is going absolutely nuts right now. Do the Ducks find some additions in the transfer portal? We'll find out. I think the roster next year, though, is going to be a lot of fun. Steven says there are 100 NCAA teams who wish they had what the Ducks have. Absolutely. That's getting a like from me. Absolutely. Yeah. Anitra says both teams had an elite season. My only caveat there is I think it's a sweet season. You know, if it was elite, yeah. But I hear what you're saying. And in all seriousness, I do think it was a good year. I think that at Oregon, the expectation is to win championships. First in the conference, then at the national level. The Ducks did it at the conference level on the men's side. And the women had been the dominant force in winning the conference championship the last few years. Could the teams have finished better down the stretch? Sure. But you know what? The fact that we're sitting here saying it could have been better after 2 Sweet 16 seasons, that's still pretty darn good. That's still pretty darn good. Yeah, I'm going to end it there. I think it was a good year. We're going to hear from Dane Altman coming up. Going to hear from Eugene Omarui. Quick timeout, and then we've got the full post-game comments from Dane Altman as he met with the media, talking about the matchup with USC and what the offseason could look like for the Ducks. It is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. We're back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics. This is the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Whoa.
The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio, looking back on a couple great seasons for Oregon basketball. We'll begin hearing from head coach Dane Altman as he talked with the media post-game. Always brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Every head coach interview this season, fight like a duck with cancer care you can count on. Dane Altman talking after what was a disappointing loss to USC and looking ahead to the future a little bit for the Ducks.
Well, I'm very disappointed for the guys. USC played a very good ball game. They out-rebounded us. They out-fought us in that first half, and we dug a hole again that was too big to dig out of. Our ball movement against the zone that first half, was not good. I let the guys down. I didn't have them ready for that zone. I thought we were, but their length and athleticism really bothered us. And we didn't have good ball movement. We took some. The other night against Iowa, our ball movement was so good, and we made the extra pass. And our guys tried to take too many shots off the dribble against that length, and kind of dug ourselves a hole. and we lost some of our energy on the defensive end, which really hurt us. So I'm disappointed, but we're in this together. I've got to take my share of the responsibility. The players, we didn't compete. They had 10 second chance points the first half, which really put us down. We came back the second half, and I got to know my personnel. Frank did a heck of a job there late, and I didn't use him the first half because offensively we were having trouble getting going, and he hasn't worked much against the zone. But he gave us a big lift that second half, and he did a great job.
Was the plan basically to take away the Mobley brothers and let anybody else beat you, and their wings just took you up on that?
Well, we didn't anticipate White, shooting it as well as he did. They went 10 for 17 from three, and that really changed our plan. They were shooting it well from the perimeter. The first half they went 5 for 9, and that was the difference in the game. They go 10 for 17, we go 5 for 20, and I thought we had some good threes. We took some questionable ones, and but we didn't shoot the ball. But they went 10 for 17, and that was the difference in the game. Those extra 5 threes, but were a big difference.
Offensively, Amaru and Duarte gave you some of their best stuff. It was tough to get anyone else going. What caused those problems for anyone else to kind of give you a scoring lift?
I don't know. I thought, Eric took some tough shots that first half. LJ just never seemed to get comfortable. Will had been scoring well. So, again, the zone, didn't allow us to move the ball. Again, some of the shots early off the dribble, I thought took some guys out of their rhythm. But you're right, those two guys scored a bunch of points, and the rest of our guys, just 1 for 7, 2 for 8, 2 for 12. We didn't get the balanced scoring that we'd been having.
What do you say to the guys after a loss like this? What do you say in the locker room?
Well, I told them one game doesn't define us. We had a nice year. We did a lot of good things, and I love the guys' perseverance, fighting through 2 pauses. I mean, it's a tough year. It was, tough year on everybody. But I got to go home to my wife and my daughter and my grandchildren and, child. So my dog, those guys, they were stuck in their apartments all the time. They were stuck, couldn't go. There, no movies, no dinners out, no camaraderie with other students. It's been a tough year. So I'm very proud of them for sticking together, fighting through, winning 21 ball games, winning a conference championship, playing very well against Iowa. But they were all very disappointed in the way we played, and I wanted to remember some of the good things. We didn't play well. USC did. USC beat us. That's, they've got a very talented team, and that zone gave Kansas problems, and it gave us fits.
Dana, you mentioned that you guys took what you thought was too many shots off the dribble and stuff. Did you feel like you were just way too tentative trying to attack the zone tonight?
Well, I thought our ball movement wasn't very good, and and then when we did get in there, their length bothered us. There's no doubt about it. But I just didn't think the ball movement was crisp. I didn't think our guys attacked it, were aggressive. I thought we got a little more aggressive. Coach Miniga said, let's put Chris in the middle of that zone, and he did some really good things. I think he got a little tired at the end, faded on a couple shots that left him short. But, we had a couple transition baskets that would have got it under 10. We tried to throw the lob. We didn't get it. Chris or LJ got called on a travel. That we didn't get a bucket down there. And you got to take advantage of those opportunities when you're down and you're trying to come back. And we had a couple break opportunities, a couple open threes that we really needed just to put a little pressure on them.
How come Frank doesn't get more playing time? So he should be a great presence inside in the future, right? Because you really don't have a big guy that was able to score against USC, and that was a big problem, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, I made a mistake. I said that, the first half because they were in the zone and Frank hasn't worked much against the zone, I thought we needed offense. We put him in there for a while, and it didn't help us defensively, and I didn't play him long enough. I didn't give him a long enough opportunity that first half. And again, the offensive things that he did, he got us a couple rebounds. He kept the ball alive a couple times. And he just was a presence in there. And his energy defensively, gave us a big lift. So, again, I've got to take my share of the responsibility. And, it's March. Hell, I should know my personnel. And he joined us at Christmas. He's been a great addition. I love working with him. And, that was the first thing after the game I told the team. When you lose together. I made a mistake on personnel, and I didn't have you ready for the zone. And you want your guys to look in the mirror and say when they don't get something done. And as a coach, if you don't set that example, it's pretty hard for them to do it. And so those are the first two things I said when we got to the locker room. And I know Frank's a talented young man, and I love his energy. And, I think he's got a big future.
Dana, LJ was not a player who was going to beat himself very much this season, but he has a season high in turnovers and a season low in shooting tonight. Was it simply that Evan Mobley matched up against him on the outside, just the length, forced ball deflections, and other things? Or, some of it was stepping out of bounds, some of it was uncharacteristic. So what was your just assessment of why LJ just had such an uncharacteristic night?
I don't know. Just he had a tough night, and we had a couple guys step out of bounds. Is one thing that drives me crazy, James. They're not going to move those lines. You got to know where you're at. We just weren't sharp. And again, as coach, you got to take your share of the responsibility. Players got to take their share. But we didn't move the ball. We weren't sharp. And the turnovers, when we were trying to come back, we just, again, those two opportunities in transition where we didn't get a layup. We called LJ, I think, for traveling, and then we tried to throw the lob and didn't get it down. When you're trying to come back from the deficit that we had, you just can't have those mistakes.
Yeah, Dana, this is a year in which seniors can come back to school. How do you handle that discussion with your guys? What's the time frame, I guess, for that for you, and knowing if you need to replace them or not?
Well, Gene is a graduate. He's older because he sat out last year and had the surgery. He'll move on. Chris is going to get drafted. I think he should go in the first round. So he'll move on. I'll talk to the rest of the guys. Right now, Matt, the portal's going nuts. And everybody's looking for something. And so I don't know, I'll have individual conversations with everybody. I'll tell them to take a week or two, and think about, what direction everybody wants to go.
What did this year teach you compared to the rest? What do you take away from this season?
Well, it sure was different. I've had an opportunity to coach 40 years now, and either as an assistant or as a head coach, and at different levels, Division II, junior college, and at the Division I level. And this was a unique year. Again, I think it was the toughest on our players because it wasn't college. You go to play basketball at college, and hanging around with other students, meeting people, establishing relationships with your classmates and other students, going out on a date, going out to eat, going to a movie. I can't imagine, it wasn't any fun. The only fun they had was when they came to practice, and if we had a good practice and, they were running around and, they would have fun doing that, and winning's fun. But, I think it was a really tough year on him. And, it was tough on a lot of people, but it was tough on our players and getting tested every day. And it's kind of like, hoping that, the guys that we did have were all asymptomatic. We were fortunate, nobody really got sick, but we had those pauses and, guys get frustrated with that. And so it was a long year for them. It was a long year, and they're definitely going to need some time away from the game and away from everything and some time with their families. This was our spring break this week, but everything's online, so I want our guys to go spend some time with their families. And, Christmas, some of them went home, some of them didn't. We did give them the option. We wanted them to spend time with their families there. But right now, our guys need to decompress or whatever they want to say, but they need to spend some time with their families. And it's been a long season, and I wish it would have continued, but I do want them to spend some time with their families.
Always a very honest Dana Altman. Taking some of the blame, and I think I'll be the first to say that it's not all on the coach. It never is, right? But that's the kind of man that Coach Altman is. He's going to take the blame and say that he made a mistake and didn't have the Ducks ready to go. The group effort. You win and lose as a team, as they say. We're going to hear from one of those big team players in Eugene Omarui coming up as we continue looking back on 2 pretty great seasons for the Ducks on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Hi, you've reached Toyota. This is Jan.
Can I save on a new Toyota?
Yes, with great deals through March 31st at participating dealers.
I'm really into mystery podcasts lately for those long drives.
Well, imagine yourself in a Camry when a celebrity sleuth solves the perfect crime. Or camping in a RAV4 when a shocking theft turns a city on its head. Or off-roading in a Tacoma when trouble follows a big city cop to the country. Spoiler alert, it was the butler.
Toyota, let's go places.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio, where today's show is brought to you by Shadow Hills Country Club, your family resort just minutes from home. Call for a tour today. And you heard a little bit there, but we're going to jump into Eugene Omarui as he talked to the media, and we know that he's going to be moving on to the next stage of his career. And, man, if you haven't seen some of the stories about his work in Nigeria and his story of how he got to Oregon, let me just say, take a little time to read it on GoDucks.com, and we've talked about it on our interview from Tip-Off Tuesday. If you go back into our archives, either via the Oregon Sports Network podcast, if you're a podcaster, or if you want to watch the show via the GoDucks YouTube, Oregon Men's Basketball Facebook page. We had a great interview about 2 months ago with Eugene Omarui, and, man, that's an impressive young man. And you saw the emotion that he had courtside as the Ducks were in the final minutes of their season, and you know that he gives it everything that he's got. Eugenio Marui met with the media postgame.
What was the challenge of just trying to get ball movement through the zone?
Their length really bothered us. It got us off track a bit, and we just didn't compete in the first half, which we should have come out more aggressive. But yeah, their length really affected us in our offensive starts.
Eugene, obviously a disappointing end, but what will you take most from this season?
Playing with a great group of guys and just a great coaching staff. And just the University of Oregon always having my back, and just being able to come here and graduate and just knock out my goals one by one has been a big thing for me. And I'm going to miss this group. This is definitely my favorite group to play with, and we're just a family on and off the court. So it's a heartbreaking moment right now.
Eugene, when you guys were down 20, you guys had that 11-0 run there to get within 9 on Frank's tip-in with about 3:50 to go. Did you feel like, unlike the game in Los Angeles, maybe we've got a push here to make it a good game here at the end and get back in it?
Yeah, for sure. We were gonna compete to the end no matter what. We were just fighting, and then I think they hit a 3, and it got us back rocky again. But we wanted to fight, and no matter what the score was, we wanted to fight to the final buzzer.
Eugene, Dana said he came into the locker room and told the team that he took a lot of the blame for not getting you guys ready for the zone. I guess as a player, how does that make you feel of having a coach put the blame on himself and for a loss like this?
I know Coach wants to put the blame on himself, but it's all of us. We're all a family. We're all a unit. It hits all of us no matter what. So Coach did his part in talking to us, and we all didn't come ready today, so we all didn't come prepared, and the results showed.
Eugene, you talk about the camaraderie on and off the court. I know all you seniors live together. With that in mind, what do you say to LJ after this one? Because this was an uncharacteristic night for him and a very tough night for him.
Keep your head up. We got bigger things in the future just with this game of basketball. We all decided to come to Eugene, and we want to do something big. And although we didn't get all the way to our goals, we still knocked out a bit of our goals that we set before the season started. So I just told him to keep his head up and just. This is a learning standpoint for all of us, so yeah.
Eugene, obviously the Mobley brothers get a lot of hype, and rightfully so, but in the 2 games you guys have played, it's really been the supporting cast that's really hurt you guys on their offensive end. So, what can you just say about the performances of White and Edey tonight?
They competed. They have competitors just like we have competitors, and they outfought us, and it showed. But we needed to start the game off better, and we didn't start it off the way we wanted it to, and it kind of just put us in a hole early.
Have you decided definitively you're moving on, and then in that case, just what's your plans for the next couple of weeks? How fast does life change for you here in the next couple of days?
The goal is to just go home. My family's here, go home with them, and just take a week off and just get back in the lab and get ready for the next level. So,
wishing him nothing but the best. I think he's going to be successful where he moves on. And not sure what level Eugenio Marui will play at, but you can see, man, he's got a touch for the game, and he just puts everything out there. I have really enjoyed watching Eugenio Marui play. I wish that I could have gotten to know him a little bit better if we weren't in the COVID era. Wishing him the very best in whatever he decides to do next. Oregon men's basketball season comes to a close. We'll do a little bit more look back throughout the next week or so, and rooting on the rest of the Pac-12 now. Good luck to the 3 Pac-12 teams that are still playing. Coming up, Oregon women's basketball. I look back on the Sweet 16 matchup against Louisville and what's to come next year for, I think, what is going to be a reloaded squad on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Hi, welcome to the Spicy Drive-In. May I take your order?
Can I get the spicy chicken sandwich, please?
The spicy chicken is an excellent choice, sir. And to drink?
Whatever's fine.
Oh, may I make a beverage pairing recommendation this evening?
Sure.
If we are feeling especially bold tonight, sir, I would recommend the Mountain Dew with that. It's bravely unrestrained with a very alive aroma that pairs wonderfully with your spicy chicken. It's followed by a hint of zesty citrus flavor.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
I'm sure you already know this, sir, but remember to appreciate the nose first by giving the Mountain Dew a little swirl to really volatilize it.
What?
To change the flavor compounds and activate your taste buds to get them fully primed for that chicken sandwich.
Ah, it's delicious.
Now you're getting the hang of it. The muscular, flavor-charged characteristics of Mountain Dew make for an absolutely epic mouthfeel when paired with spicy cuisine. It is quite on point, sir.
Dude, it's a perfect match. Like they were made for each other.
So true, so true.
When you want to make good food bolder and bold food better, do the Dew.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield IMG College.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
It's important to buckle up your kids.
I know.
Sometimes car seats can be complicated.
I know.
And if your child's in the wrong seat and you get into a crash,
I know.
it could lead to a serious injury.
I know.
So you're 100% sure you have the right car seat for your child's age and size?
I don't know.
Don't think you know. Know you know. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Make sure you have the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio for Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Hearing from a lot of coaches and players today. Heard from Dane Altman, heard from Eugene Omarui. Now we turn our attention to Oregon women's basketball, as the Ducks had a rough start with a bit of a slow offense, and I'll tell you, everything really changed when Maddie Shear had to leave the game. The Ducks have just been completely snake-bitten by injuries this year. Ducks answered, though, I thought, out of the half, and then when Niara Sabali went down late in the third, I think that was when it was too much. They were without Maddie Shear. They were without Niara Sabali. They were already without Tahina Paopao. Injuries just suck. And it's too bad that that's the way that the season came to a close. The Ducks did close within 6 in the fourth, but then it seemed like they just ran out of gas. And I got to think it's a different game if Niara Sabali, Maddie Shear are able to go the whole time, and if Tahina Paopao is able to go, as the Ducks have been snake-bitten by injuries this year. Game, though, felt to me, with that in mind, kind of like a microcosm of the Ducks' entire season. Bev Smith actually said that on the broadcast yesterday with Terry Johns, that you saw glimpses of this team being great. And then you also saw moments where the team had availability issues and it was inconsistent, and the Ducks hadn't been able to practice together much this season and in and out of the lineup with injuries. And that really felt like yesterday's game against Louisville. Now Coach Graves wants this to be a springboard, though, and I think that it certainly can be, because it was a rough finish, but man, 4 straight Sweet 16s for the Ducks. Elite 8, Final Four, Sweet 16. That's been the last 4 years for Oregon women's basketball. And to Erin Boley and Lydia Giomi, man, we're going to miss you around here. Duck fans, those are 2 tremendous student athletes to watch, aren't they? Erin Boley and Lydia Giomi both going to be moving on in their careers, and Erin Boley, Lydia Giomi probably in something other than basketball, even though I think they could both go play professionally. But Erin Boley's going to be moving on in her career, wants to really get into the design world, and Lydia Giomi's going to be a teacher. Wouldn't you want to hire both of those student athletes right now? Man, going to miss them. Contributed to a really amazing era of Oregon women's basketball. Really a great season with a lot of adversities, injuries, youth, the worst year to be a young team, as you hear Coach Graves talk about. I think next year, though, this team is going to be really, really good. Coach Graves talked with the media postgame.
Well, first of all, I just want to congratulate Louisville. They, Coach Walls had them ready, and, they deserved it tonight. They just played harder than us. They were a lot more aggressive. They got us on our heels early, and we just couldn't quite recover. And, we made an effort and cut it, I think, to 6 or 8 at some point later in the third quarter, early fourth. And then, they went on a run that we just couldn't recover from. We didn't play our best. Didn't have really all the pieces that we needed. But again, I don't want to take anything away from Louisville. They deserve to move on. That being said, I'm really proud of my team. I don't think a month ago many people thought we would be here. We were the youngest team in the field. And I think just, I think we have a championship makeup with the players that we have. We just weren't, good enough in this tournament to continue on. But I think just the fact that we were able to play 3 games, win a couple in this tournament, I think will do us well in the future. 2 people I really just want to congratulate and let them know how much that I love them and appreciate them. Erin Boley and Lydia Giomi played their last games, in a Duck uniform. But those 2 have been very special, and they've left a legacy of success. And quite frankly, they set an example to all of our young kids as to what you're supposed to be when you're a student athlete, how you're supposed to act, how you're supposed to go about your business. They're not just great athletes and good basketball players. That's obvious. We've seen them do that on the court, but off the court, you're talking about 2 leaders in our university community, and 2 people that are, going to make this world better. They're the type of people that the world needs most, quite frankly, right now, with all the issues that we have. So I'm really proud of them. Like I told them, the worst season they ever had in a Duck uniform was Sweet 16. I mean, think about that. They went to a couple of Elite Eights, went to a Final Four, and now a Sweet 16. That's quite a legacy to leave. So I'm really proud of them, and I just want them to know how much I appreciate and love them.
Obviously, when Maddie went down, that affected your defense, I'm guessing, against Dana. And when Sabali went down, you guys were making a run, and not having her makes a difference. So just how much does that hurt you guys, not having those 2 players to sort of have a chance tonight, so to speak?
Well, Doug, at this point in the tournament, you want every player that you can have available, and obviously Maddie has had a tremendous tournament. I can't give her more praise. When Tahina Paopao went down, people forget our point guard was first team all Pac-12, one of the best point guards in the country. And we were without her in this tournament, but I thought Maddie filled in and did a great job, and that obviously hurt. And then Niara was having a great second half. I thought she came out with new commit, and they were, and we were finally able to get her the basketball. And then when she went down, I don't know the extent of her injuries. That did not look good, and that's going to be a tough one. That just makes it difficult. But again, hey, you can't make excuses. You play with who you have. And we just, like I said, didn't have enough. But I wish them the best. I want a speedy recovery by both, and it's too bad we didn't have them.
What can this group take from this going into next year?
I know we can take it a step or 2 or even more further. I truly do. I think we've got a championship makeup. And I think I know a little bit about that. Never have won one, but certainly have been in a position to. I really like the group that we have coming back. And you're right. This was the absolute worst season to be young. When you consider Sedona and Niara, they're not technically freshmen, but this was their first year of basketball. Actually, they were behind the freshmen even. I mean, they hadn't played in 2 years. That's difficult. And then 5 true freshmen, 2 other newcomers, 9 new people on this basketball team. And with very little opportunity. And Ryan, you're from Oregon, so you know how little we got to, I hear these coaches belly aching. They didn't get to work with their kids in July. Well, we didn't really start until October in anything meaningful. So, I applaud them. Man, I am so proud of my team. This was, like I said, a tough year. It's a tough year for everybody, but when you're young, it was even worse. So I'm glad that we made it this far. I think we can use this as a springboard.
When you look at the influence and the impact that Sedona and you all had on this tournament, what kind of consolation do you take from that? The fact that, you're making people pay attention to things that they wouldn't have been doing a month ago.
Couldn't be more proud of the young lady. Just Sedona is a marvel. I'm so inspired each and every day by her. I'm glad that she stood up. And she's, quite frankly, she has made change, and that's super, super powerful. On top of that, you guys, I know tonight wasn't her best game. She had a really good tournament. I think she's put herself into a position now to have not just a real voice, but to be able to back it up as one of the best basketball players in the country. And I think that's as important as what they're doing on the basketball court, you guys. The lessons, I mean, we want to win every game. We do. But what we're trying to do is build strong young women who have a voice and, and feel empowered. And I think that's what we're doing at the University of Oregon. And it's not just Sedona, it's her teammates too. But just think of the group that we have coming back when you start with Tahina Paupau and Nyara Sabali and Sedona Prince and Taylor Mikesell. Look, I mean, the list goes on and on. I could have mentioned all 10 or 11 players that we have back. This is going to be a really good group. This group isn't going away. And we're only going to get better. And now that we have an opportunity to work with each other, actually, I think you're going to see huge growth. And this is a team that, I'll be shocked and really disappointed if we don't not only get to this point next year, but even beyond.
Coach, I want to ask you about the response to both injuries. Obviously, you guys had a really tough second quarter, but a big third quarter to respond. What was working during that period? And then the way you guys responded after Nyara left, I know they ended up ballooning it again, but you got it down to 6. Pleased with both those and kind of what worked and when you had to figure things out on the fly like that?
Well, I thought, we stopped turning the ball over. That helped early. We got the ball inside. Sedona and Nyara both got pretty good looks inside. We didn't shoot the ball very well from the 3 tonight, and I thought we had some pretty good looks at times. Not a ton, and again, credit that defense. They sped us up. We knew they were going to try to, and they did. And it took, 2 quarters to kind of settle down. But I just thought we relaxed a little bit more in that third quarter and got back into it. And it was just a play or two here or there that could have gotten us over the hump. We just could never get it over the hump, and we felt like we were playing uphill the entire time. Then the loss to Nyara, that kind of kicks you in the gut a little bit, and we didn't respond well, just like we didn't respond well to Maddie's early. So, we're going to learn from it and move on.
When you think back on this tournament and how hard they did fight to get to this point, what are you going to remember most about that element of this tournament?
Nothing but positives and love for my team. I'm so proud of them. We did work hard. I thought we outplayed and outworked our first 2 opponents, and at times we outworked Louisville tonight. We just didn't do it for 40 minutes. And I got to give Dana Evans a lot of credit. I mean, she was really good tonight. She was every bit the All-American that she was for most of the year. I know she struggled in this tournament and kind of late in the season, but we got her fixed. That's for sure. Now they're going to run into an elite team next round, as we well know. Stanford is playing as well as anybody, but AJ, I can't say how proud I am of my team. I mean, seriously, look how young this group is, and look how far we got. There were a lot of teams. There's 350 some odd Division I teams. We made it to the final 16, and like I said, we're going to use this as a springboard, and we're going to build on it.
A lot of shots you couldn't finish at the hoop. Drives and the 3-pointers. I mean, is that some consolation? You just didn't shoot as well as they did.
I thought early in the game, Jerry, I thought we had some pretty good looks. We had, the right 3-point shooters shooting pretty good shots there. Like you said, we just didn't finish around the rim very well early. A few of those go in, maybe it's a different game, then you're maybe not battling uphill. Maybe it's basket for basket, but we didn't get off to the start that we had gotten the last 2 games in this tournament, and that kind of hurt us.
Playing in these games against these caliber of teams with these big of moments, just how much that can impact a team. I know you guys had a lot this year early, but the tournament's a little different animal than to get this far. I mean, how much can this kind of lead you guys to the offseason? Because a couple weeks ago we thought maybe it was going to be a disappointing end to the season, and obviously it's not now.
Exactly. I'm going to remember, great season. It's how you finish. We got to the Sweet 16, you guys. I mean, it's incredible, especially given how we played toward the end of the year. So, listen, positives. It feels bad right now, and it should, because it feels bad because it's important to us. But, we're going to forget the score tonight. We're going to forget that maybe we weren't at our best. And what we're going to remember is a really great run. And again, I couldn't be more proud of this group. I'm happy for them. I love each and every one of them. They've had tremendous attitudes all year, a really strong work ethic. They've really built a chemistry and a camaraderie that has been difficult under the circumstances. And I'm going to remember only positive things. There's no question about it. Now, we got to get better. Okay, we got to get healthier, which means I think we got to get stronger. We got to put in the work on the court and off the court. But right now, for the next few weeks, I think our school starts tomorrow, spring quarter. They need to get back into the books and get that part of their life back in order, so that then we, in a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, really get started on, not just conditioning, but skill development and really all the things that we need to improve on. So I'm really excited about the future of Duck basketball. Think about it, you guys. In the last 5 seasons, this is what we've done. Okay? Elite Eight, Final Four. 2020, who knows? I still think we were the best team and had a chance to win it all. And then this year, the Sweet 16. If that's not an elite basketball program, I'm not sure what is, and until we, I guess, cut down those final nets, there's always something out there that we're chasing. But again, what a great season, and that's what I'm going to remember.
And they're going to be in a great position to make a run at another championship next year. I think we all know that. Coach Graves certainly seems to think so. They've got a really, really good core coming back. And this is a team that learned a lot from this tournament run, especially after playing against so much great competition at the end of the season. I mean, let's not forget, the Ducks are playing top 10 teams left and right. Yeah, they lost 5 of 6 entering the tournament, but they were playing top 10 teams every week. Seemed like all of the games that ended up off of Oregon's schedule were against teams that you'd think Oregon would beat. They could build some confidence. Well, they did build a little bit of confidence on this Sweet 16 run, and I do think that they can use it as a springboard heading into next year. We'll talk with Terry Johns, of course, I'm sure, coming up over the next few weeks, and tomorrow we're going to hear from Erin Boley as she talked to the media post-game yesterday as well. In the meantime, when we come back, Oregon baseball, track and field, and softball, volleyball. We're going to hear about all those other sports that were in action over the weekend on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Everybody buckle up. Buckle up.
Let's go.
Buckle up.
Can we go to the store? Mom,
buckle
can we get
up.
some ice cream?
Everybody, buckle up.
A lot goes on in the car, but you're in control. So only move when you hear the click that says they're buckled in. Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you, talking about a few other sports over the weekend with your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Let's start with Oregon volleyball. Swept Cal. Solid performances. 13 Pac-12 wins now for the Ducks, tied for the third most conference wins in a season in school history with still 2 matches remaining. The Ducks have won 10 straight sets, dating back to the 5th set of that thriller against Oregon State. And Matt Ulmer was pretty darn happy post-game with the way his team's been playing.
It's so weird not having our fans. I feel like this would have been a very fun year for our fans to be in Matthew Knight Arena. This is, I love our team. They play really hard. They play a fun style of volleyball. I know the fans would really appreciate it. I thought a lot of really good contributions all the way around. Our defense is, again, doing a nice job. We served really well. Blocking, I thought, was very, very formidable, especially in the first set, and that kind of changed the tone for them offensively. But we're 13-3 going into last weekend, and hopefully, again, we can just continue to get better every day.
What are you looking forward to going into Arizona State?
Yeah, so the three things kind of we've been really trying to get better at is our block, being a little bit more aggressive with our serve as far as pace goes, and then just the rhythm of our offense and being more consistent in that. And I feel like the serving was probably the best we've served all year was this weekend. Just better pace on the ball, better movement, better choices, good location. I thought we did a nice job there. And then I think our block is really coming along. So again, better serving also helps the block. So those things are kind of together. And then offensively, I think for like 80% of the match, we're playing a really nice rhythm. And then we'll just there's just a little run, some hiccup that just keeps coming. So can we limit the hiccup? Can we just make it so it's a small portion of points that happens, so we can have longer stretches of a rhythm? So I think for us moving forward, again, if we can score at a higher rate, then we're going to be a really tough team to play in the tournament. So can that just continue to grow?
Matt Ulmer with one more weekend for the Oregon volleyball team, and they will be heading to the postseason. Meanwhile, Oregon softball got a sweep over LMU. Jordan Dale won her first home start of the season, and Melissa Lombardi, well, pretty happy with the way that things went.
I liked the urgency that our offensive had. I thought they hit the ball hard. It took us a couple innings to score, but I love with that, the 6 runs that we scored, we did it all with 2 outs.
Ducks have won 23 of their first 24 games to start a season for the second time in program history, and they've been doing it with 2 outs a lot. That's been clutch. We'll talk to Coach Lombardi more on the show tomorrow. Graham Abel's squad, 1-0 win on Friday, 1-0. And then they drew at Stanford, which means that the Ducks are now 5-3-3, and don't look now, might be making the NCAA tournament for the first time in program history, but Graham Abel, I won't be talking to him about that. We learned that last time. Career-high 9 saves for Leah Freeman. Men's tennis. They now are 13-2 after a 6-1 win over San Diego on Saturday. Women's tennis won the doubles point against number 10 UCLA, but wasn't enough as they fell 4-1. And women's golf, an incredible 9 under on Sunday. They moved up 5 spots on the leaderboard. The first win of the Derek Radley era for a top 25 team in Oregon women's golf. Women's lacrosse did fall this weekend. Track and field outdoor season returns. And Oregon baseball, how about an 18-13 slugfest? They won it on Sunday. 18-13, that's a football score. Your Cafe Up 2-minute drills, we wrap it up. More basketball recap tomorrow.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school, so I'm trying to break that barrier. My daughter Brooklyn was also a motivation for me to go back to school. Every day after work, went straight to school, and it paid off.
At age 26, Kareem finished his high school diploma.
I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even